We start or still wait for a few minutes?
Yeah, we can wait for.
No, we should start. Megal, 19 participants are there, and it is 4:10. So I think we should start.
Okay. So then let's start.
So by default, everyone else should go on mute. Amit, make everyone else on mute mode.
Apurva bhai, I guess the host control is with you. Kindly mute everyone. Hello. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amit Sota. I welcome you all on behalf of FPME to the webinar on marine insurance. This is an interesting subject as our fellow members, merchant exporters would like the risk to be covered in a better way. And as always, need right guidance for marine insurance. FPME has invited Shuans Insurance Broking LLP to help us with their vast knowledge on marine insurance. Mr. Ratin Varia is currently the founder partner and principal officer of Shuyan's Insurance Broking LLP, which is a licensed direct insurance broking company. He has imparted technical inputs on the insurance needs of large clients and also conducted training for their in-house staff on insurance, including claim processing. He has invited and successfully conducted presentations to various trade associations in India. He holds a certificate of competency issued by IRDA. They have one more person, Mr. Ketan Bhai Modi. He has recently joined Mr. Ratin Varia in Shuans Insurance. He has worked previously in management position with various corporates like Dabur Group, Amway Group, Airtel, Reliance, SR Group, and he has experience of last 25 years. He is currently handling reputed clients in corporates, manufacturing, real estate sectors for their various insurance needs. He, along with Ratin Bhai, are now successfully leading Shuyan's Insurance Broking to new levels. Now I invite Ratin Bhai Varia to give some insights on marine insurance.
Thank you very much, Amit ji. And I thank FPME for inviting us, to ensure that we are able to convey to the members the technical and the legal aspects of insurances and getting more focused on the marine insurance per se. So I would like to start with a small presentation, which I will keep it very short and discreet, and then we can have a complete participative session between the members and us, which will throw light to a number of areas. So can everybody see the presentation here?
Yes, we can see it, and just request you to be little more louder.
Sure, I'll do that. That should be fine. So Suyash Insurance Broking, that's the name of our company. About Suyash, so we've been in the insurance sector since the time the insurance sector opened in India. So when the private insurance licenses were given to various insurers to operate in India, then we were one of the first batch of license holders, that time in the name of Mankan and Associates, where we had a composite broking license. So we are a team of 20 people having more than 3 decades of experience, each of them. We've been handling portfolio of more than 500 plus clients belonging to various commodities. So we specialize in commodities. So whether it is agri, pharma, API formulations, textiles, chemicals, real estate, so on and so forth. We so far, I think, in this 25 years of journey in the insurance sector, we've ensured 100% timely and full claim settlement to each and every one of our clients. So this is our experience in handling various claims as large as 150 crores plus.
Ratin bhai, can you be little louder, please?
Yeah, the key USPs of Suyash is that we understand, we first would want to understand the client's business. We would then want to risk assess their clients. Our expertise is to ensure that the right policy is given to the right client, depending on the trade that he functions and he operates. So we legally, we represent the client. We are not the insurance company at all. So we are not an agent. Here we represent the clients to all the insurers in India. And here we are basically the client's in-house insurance team working for our clients day and night to ensure that all technical inputs and claim inputs related are given by us. Our presence is very well known in the pharma sector. So we've been representing top well-known clients in the pharma industry today, whether it is manufacturers, traders, exporters, distributors. I think we've been there across. We have rich experience in understanding the exposures, the risk exposures that the pharma trade generally is into. So whether it is bulk drugs, APIs, formulations, I think we've been able to make inroads in all of them. And and lastly, we've been invited by a number of associations all over India to educate the members, fellow members, to ensure that every rupee of theirs is protected should a claim arise. So we will just go through a small presentation. Key functions of insurance. Most importantly, why we take insurance is to ensure financial security to the individuals and corporates. Insurance is nothing but spread of risk. It provides assistance to business enterprise. It provides financial stability, very important. Serves as a social security tool. I think Mediclaim, the COVID scenario has really showed the important role that an insurance can have in everybody's life, and plays a vital role in prevention and reduction of losses. So this is very important. A risk management system has to be in place so that nobody wants and invites losses, but if it can be avoided, it can be prevented, and then what are the ways to handle that? There are different kinds of insurances. We will run through the fire insurance slightly faster because we would like to concentrate more on the marine front. The fire insurance, what all is covered in India is a standard fire special peril, which 1st April onwards, there are 2 small products which have come in India, which has brought in by IRDA, but the coverages are basically alike as to the perils covered. So fire, lightning, explosion, aircraft damage, riot, strike, malicious damage, flood, storm, impact damage. So these are all the named perils which are covered under the policy, whether it is landslide, bursting of pipe, bushfire, sprinkler leakage, and missile testing. Normally, one would have a warehouse stock policy when you are trading, because you would buy, you would stock, you would sell. So whether it is inland, export, so normally one has a stock policy for ensuring one's stocks. Coming to the inland, the transit policies, basically once the goods are procured and they are stocked at the warehouse, you would be transporting the goods via various carriers, transporters within India and outside India both. So there is a transit insurance which is available, and most of them would be having it. Ensure in any transit policy or any contract, sale or purchase contract, the insurance factor has to be clearly mentioned. So even in a local contract of sale, you can use the same Incoterms as you are using in your export market, so that ultimately when the trade is selling any commodities, it is mostly selling on credit. So we don't want a situation where your money is stuck, and tomorrow if there is any loss or damage, and if you have your buyer telling that sorry, my policy is not responding, then you've had it. So please ensure that your contract of sale is properly put into, especially with regards to the insurance aspect. And also, most importantly, your invoice also should clearly mention who's to insure. Never keep it open to interpretation. It will be extremely harmful when it comes to a claim. Similarly, we have imports. So imports are basically from anywhere in the world to anywhere in India. So you can there are import policies which are available depending on the Incoterms, where you decide to import. There are also some traders who may be doing merchant trading between 2 countries sitting here, in Bombay. So that also could be covered under transit. Most importantly, we have an export transit policy, which will cover from anywhere in India to anywhere in the world. So basically transit, these are important legs of transits. in all legs of transit, it is very important to ensure that the terms of contract are very, very clear, especially in the international transit. The Incoterms, which is predominantly either FOB, C&F, CIF, DDP, DDU, these Incoterms have to be properly noted, as Incoterms determine the insurable interest on the cargo. So when I mention these words, what I mean is that Incoterms establishes the ownership on the cargo. That means till which point is the exporter owning the cargo, and from which point the importer is owning the cargo. So here insurance works on ownership. So whatever is owned by the exporter, till that point of leg of transit, the exporter has to insure, and thereafter it is the importer's ownership. Hence, the importer only has to insure. So these are, various transit policies which are available. Again, there are some add-on covers. This is mainly for the fire policy, inland transit. Now, most importantly, I would like you to go through the Incoterms which we have prepared, where if you see in red is, the seller's interest. That means as a seller, my ownership of the cargo is till what point, and thereafter in blue is the buyer's interest. That means from that point you can take, the buyer has to take a policy, the seller's policy will not pay. So similarly, in your export, import, international trade, these Incoterms are very, very important, where it is X works, FOB, CFR, CNF, CIF, CPT. So this chart is extremely important for you to understand that under, for example, under FOB, free on board, the red arrow is, if you see, look above, it is still on board the ship, and thereafter the entire journey has to be insured by the buyer. So the seller's insurable interest in the cargo under FOB is only till once it is on board the vessel. So here, if there is any sling loss, that means while putting the container on board the vessel, if there is any loss, then it will be to the account of the seller. And once the slings are, detached from the container, once it is on board the vessel, then the buyer's, that means your importer's insurable interest and ownership on the cargo will commence. So it is from that point that your importer has to ensure that they have a policy. Similarly, there are other terms called as DAF, delivered at frontier. So these are very rarely used terms, but these are part of the Incoterms. So most importantly, we prepared a small list in case you import. What are the important areas that one needs to check if you import? So this is a small list where basically the packing, the weighment, the seals, these are standard SOPs which you please follow, so that, if there is any kind of skillful pilferage claims or any such claims, you can properly ensure that it falls under the respective policy. Similarly, if there are some unsound drums which are received, you need to ensure that proper noting of that is to be done on the on the face of the receipt. Most importantly, important checklist in case of claims. First, most importantly, you must, as an insured, know what is your right and what are your duties. Okay, this is very important, so that the surveyors and the insurers cannot take us granted and for a ride. So your loss minimization measures, an intimation of a claim is the duty of the insured. So once a loss does happen, please ensure certain loss minimization measures are taken out. Just because we have an insurance, we cannot ensure that the losses keep on aggravating. So that is very, very important. Photographs are very important. FIR, just in case there is any fire on board, or there is then maybe FIRs are important. Similarly, fire brigade report is important. Your most importantly, in a marine policy, please ensure that declarations to the insurance companies are made in proper format, and they are made regularly. So it is very, very important here to ensure that proper declarations are made to the insurers. I have seen times where declarations have been made, and then ultimately, one does not keep a track on balances, and then we have seen, some places where the insureds who are not our clients come to us that, sorry, we did not maintain balance, but we have insurance policy. So here, please ensure that you have proper balances, adequate balances in your policies, so that when the goods actually start commencing the transit either from the factory of various manufacturers or your warehouses, enough balance is there so that a claim cannot be ever rejected. Because if you do not have enough balance, then you are violating Section 64 VB of the Insurance Act 1938, where the law is very clear that the insurers are off risk. So they will not pay any kind of claim whatsoever. Again, in an export claim, the most important thing is that you need to ensure survey is done very fast, because wherever the loss takes place, it is going to be outside the country, where you need to have insurers who are agile in ensuring that surveyors are appointed at the earliest, as soon as you intimate the loss. So please ensure that is done. I've also seen a number of time in export claims where the goods reach the consignee's final warehouse, and it is only after they want to use that consignment and they take it out, they realize that there is a damage. So such kind of losses would not be paid under any policy, because normally when one receives the consignment, if there is any damage, one has to notify the carrier, because there will be a subrogation that you will have to give to the insurers once your claim is settled, to ensure that they properly get recovery rights from the carriers, because it is the carrier who is responsible, because you have paid freight for the carriage. So once you have paid freight for the carriage, the law is very clear that the carrier is responsible to ensure that they deliver the consignment in the same way as they have picked up. So please ensure that is done timely. Again, important is getting the damage certificate from the carriers. That is very important. So once you notify it on the LR or on the carrier's receipt or the BL, I think they would be obliged to give you as per the norms. Most importantly, in your commodity per se, there is no salvage. What I know, pharma, once it is damaged, it is not like any other commodity where you can, cut the balance and use the balance. So your policies should be very clear on that. Otherwise, what will happen is that the surveyors, generally what they do is they would segregate, the damaged, undamaged, and suppose if you have a strip which is slightly damaged, they will tell you to cut that strip and balance, they will tell you which is going to be not part of the claim. So I think these are areas where you have to ensure that proper clauses are incorporated in the policies, so that if a damage does occur, we are at a liberty to tell the surveyors that we will not be giving any salvage value, and it has to be destroyed. So I think these are important areas in pharma where sale of salvage in fact is prohibited by law. Many a times you cannot sell any pharma item which is damaged, because ultimately it goes in human consumption. So I think all these norms have to be properly understood by the insurer, by the underwriters, by the claims people. I think then your claim, and you need to have those proper clauses in your policy to ensure that your claim is properly handled. So apart from that, I think there are miscellaneous insurances like your engineering, burglary, theft, householder, health, of course, office package, personal accident, employer's legal liability, travel insurance, cyber insurance, credit insurance. So there have been different avenues which have opened up, which you can, as a part of your risk transfer, you can use that. There are certain liability policies which are available. Product liability is very important because you all export it. So you all are extremely exposed to a product liability kind of a claim, which may come overseas. So this is very important, which is basically your commercial general liability, which is much widely worded than a product liability. So I think thank you very much. So we are looking forward for a very fruitful association with your organizations, and I think please I would leave the floor here open to the house to take forward any kind of questions, anything that they would want to ask, any issues that they would have faced, how to prevent them, if there is any way out. So I think I would leave it to the floor and its members to have a fruitful participation till the time we can. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ratin bhai. Amit bhai, can you take forward?
Yeah, thank you, Ratin bhai, for the beautiful presentation. Can you little elaborate on goods recall liability, because many members would be interested in that also.
So what happens is that generally a recall liability is mainly given to various engineering products. What happens is that you've been hearing in the
But in case
in
of
the
pharma,
paper.
in case of
Pharma, not much. The product recall is not much. There are claims which have happened in pharma also. But recall is an extension which one needs to take, where the cost of bringing back the material, destruction, all that is covered under product recall. So if there is any manufacturing defect, so what product recall covers is that if it is found that there is a manufacturing defect, and that is confirmed by the manufacturer, because if you see in the automobiles insurances, there are big automobile manufacturers who recall various cars to change their spares. Sometimes the clutches are not proper, sometimes the brake pads are not proper. So such kind of product recall, where the cost of replacement of spares, all that is paid by the insurers under this product recall policy.
In our
So
case, if the product fails, is that will it be covered?
So please understand, if so, product recall is a cover. In insurance, you need to prove loss. Okay, so here the specifications which were given, and if the manufacturer has, because he will also have a lot of certifications before he hands over the product to you. So here, if the manufacturing has been in order, and it is established that the manufacturer was not at a fault, then quality issues are not paid by insurers, because here the manufacturers have to ensure that whatever quality they are supposed to produce, your manufacturing intentional deliberate is definitely not payable. There is absolutely no doubt on that. But again, product recall, there will be a lot of defense, and in order for that section to trigger, the insurers would want to investigate what exactly was wrong with the product and where was it wrong. So if there's any physical loss or damage, it is definitely payable under your marine policy itself. Your marine policy itself will pay any physical loss or damage to the product. But here, as far as quality issues are concerned, one will have to see whether proper care protocols, SOPs were maintained, and that is a matter of defense which one has to get into. And then if it is found that yes, there was negligence, then if you have taken the product recall extension, then definitely the insurers would pay for it.
Okay.
Yeah. So this
now,
is the main point actually, Amit. I want to raise this because we are merchant exporters, and we get all the products manufactured from the third party, and many times we are exposed because of this third party liability. This third party manufacturer, they don't take the liability of the.
Sandeep bhai, your voice is breaking. Sandeep bhai, your voice is breaking.
And all the things. This is the fault of manufacturer. On the fault of manufacturer, merchant exporter is at loss. So can't we design certain third party liability clause into it, and cover it, because all merchant exporter, we have now around about 200 members at our FPME, and all over India there are almost 2,500 merchant exporters. All they will be benefited with such kind of third party clause if that has been incorporated in any insurance clause.
So
Actually, Sandeep ji, yeah, go on, sorry.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
No, actually, this Sandeep bhai has badly faced this issue, so that is the reason I also raised this.
So there are two things here. One is you're absolutely right. I think pharma being pharma, it is important for you to ensure that wherever you get your products manufactured, they must have a product liability. I think that is very important for you. So as an SOP, you will have to, if you're giving business to them, you will have to ensure that they take on liability of their production. That is very, very important, because what will happen is the liability policy works in a recovery basis. So what I mean is that your buyers will claim on you and you will claim on the manufacturer. Now, suppose if the manufacturer does not have a policy, and here if you are insured, then your insurer, if it is found that there was a genuine negligence on the manufacturer's front, where you had given them an X quality to be manufactured, and he has prepared an X minus quality, and he has given some false reports, leading you to export that material, and then you face claims internationally. Then definitely, under the product recall section, the investigation would be done. And as far as you are concerned, if it falls within the terms of the policy, the insurers would help you, but will definitely try to recover from the manufacturers. So they will not let the manufacturers go. So every insurers have a recovery team in place, which they will definitely try to blacklist them or try to recover whatever they can. But yes, as far as you are concerned, insurers have a contract with you. You need to explain to them very clearly what are the what are you manufacturing, and where are you manufacturing. And then accordingly, if they want to give this product recall, where in pharma there are very few companies who give a product. In fact, in general also, product recall is not given by a number of insurers. There are only barring 2 or 3 in India who give a product recall extension.
So
in pharma,
which company gives this product recall? Which insurance company?
I have to check up with ICICI and Bajaj. I think these two players in private insurers, we'll have to check up. Product, I think New India is definitely giving. But the problem with PSUs is that when a claim does come, they themselves are of extremely less knowledge of handling such claims. So here, if you really want some proper guidance that you should get, because when it comes to international claims, you need to have proper defense in place. You need to have proper representations in place. So these are important areas. So I think these two are leaders. Tata AIG also is a leader, but unfortunately, they do not do any pharma. So they have zero book on pharma. So pharma predominantly is done by Bajaj Allianz and ICICI, and Raheja QB also does some pharma.
So my next point, Ratin bhai, is why can't you make a note of all the points which, as a merchant exporter perspective, our risk points are, and negotiate with the insurance companies to cover those risks, so that all our members can benefit and their risk has been minimized. If this is if we can meet and note down the following things are under risk with merchant exporters, and if that coverage is being done by any policy, and then we recommend that policy to all our members, so that our members get benefited and their risk is minimized. Let us have that kind of approach, and we note down the points. Like, this is the recall, product recall is the major point where we are at risk. Then there are certain points where, just like haulage point we discussed about, that landlocked countries haulage point is there. Then there are other points where, when we stuff cargo here, the container is stuffed here, the quantity is matched. But at the warehouse point, where when there is a difference in the quantity or something is there, and at that time, sir, and accordingly we should design a specific policies for it to our members.
So one is we have noted, on the CGL policy, including the product recall. So we will come back to you on the same. Ketan Bhai has already noted it. As far as the marine policy is concerned, you are extremely right. One, there are absolutely hardly any insurers who give covers till the final consignee's warehouse, especially in African countries. But there are a few policies which we have been successful, where for FCL consignments we have been able to get covers till the final warehouse of the consignee in African countries. So that is that is not an issue here. Secondly, as far as your concerns regarding the shortages, that you receive at the consignee's end, I think these claims are definitely payable under the marine policy. So I think that should not depends on the Incoterms. So I again repeat, if it is an FOB CNF shipment, then your importer has to, lodge a claim under their policy. And if it is a CIF shipment, whether it is still the port or whether it is still the final warehouse of the consignee, depends on the contract that you have, then it will fall under your policy, your marine policy.
Yeah, Meghal
Rajan
bhai.
bhai, can I... Go on, Sandeep bhai. Go on.
So, can you make one, do's and don'ts for our merchant exporter? You have now understood that points to be taken care while taking the insurance, and circulate to our members, for their, benefit, because negligence is the major factor. Today also, if you see out of 200 members, only 25 attended. So people don't give importance to it, but still, whenever there is loss, they come to us that, "Arey baba, aisa ho gaya, waisa ho gaya," rote aate hai. But since that's fine, that's a human tendency. We understand it. But at least to make aware, at least to make ourselves as well as who needs it. Why don't you make some do's and don'ts kind of thing, or as a pharma merchant exporter, following things to be taken care while you prepare any insurance, along with your Incoterms.
Yeah, so it all again it is very descriptive, but yes, whatever I can, we will sit with your members and the committee members, and we'll try to give them a brief note on it.
I think Amit, you, me, and Kamlesh bhai, and once we invite to a committee meeting to Ratin bhai, and then we discuss certain points, and then we can take this ahead and circulate this in at least our next bulletin.
Yes, definitely. We move on for question and answers. So if any members have, please raise.
Amit bhai, I have a question.
Yeah, Meghal bhai, please go ahead.
Rajan bhai, I just wanted to
Could you please give me the name and the company's name, so that who is asking and from which company?
Yeah, my name is Meghal Shah, and I'm from Kalptram Enterprises. I just would like to know about some myth that in case if an air cargo comes under claim, is there that if the cargo is not palletized, they will not give the claim?
So I again repeat, you will have to see the condition in your policy, number one. Number two, if there is a condition that your cargoes have to be palletized, then if there's a warranty, then yes. If not, if your packing is standard and customary, and if you have only a few drums which you need to airlift, I think so it all depends on the policy and the warranties and the conditions. So here there is no rule in insurance that it has to be compulsorily palletized.
But policy does not state that the cargo has to be palletized. Then in that case,
then it should not be a problem.
That should not be a problem.
Not be a problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other question?
then there's a general thing that when to issue a policy, because we all are holding a open policy. So what happens is, as I discussed with Amit Bhai yesterday, regarding when to issue the policy, because when we are issuing the policy, we don't have the AV bill, we don't have the BL with us. So we just mentioned to be announced on the policy what we issue. Actually, the policy has to be issued by the insurer, but that the same process has been thrown on the exporters front. Now we are issuing the policies, which is when we are making a mistake, we don't know. And at the time of a claim, they say that this is an error, this is an error. So on that front also we lose. So on that front, how can you guide us?
So there are two things here. Issuance of certificate of insurance. Okay. Normally you have one master policy, which will take care of all your shipments. And in that policy, you have to be very, very specific on how you would be declaring to the insurers. Okay. So here, if you have a policy where you have mentioned there the basis of declarations as monthly, monthly declarations, then whether you issue a certificate of insurance or no, the insurers need not be informed of the same. You just have to give a statement of your total exports for the month, invoice number, date, amount, and declare it to the insurer. So it is all deemed insured.
But in this case,
Number two, many a times what happens is, as part of your LC condition and as part of your contract with your buyers, depending on again the Incoterms, you need to issue a certificate of insurances. So here, what you said is extremely correct, that nowadays the insurers would like to give you a login eMarine portal where you can yourself issue where you can yourself issue the certificate of insurances. So in that case, you don't have to worry. You have to ensure that the underwriters give you some leeway as far as number of days are concerned. And those number of days, you can keep your certificate in the draft till you get a copy of the airway bill or the BL, and you can issue it thereafter. So I think that also is not a problem. You can take some training, or you can have some training with your people, because the fields are very few that you need to fill. So I think generally mistakes nahi hote. Generally, it doesn't lead into mistakes. We've not had in 25 years any claim which has got stuck because the clients have not issued a proper certificate. No, as long as your contract and your invoice is very clear, certificate is part of the policy. Please understand, it is not a contract in itself. So that should not be a problem.
Okay. Thank you.
So in this case, the first case you said there is a monthly declaration. If we opt for that, then you cannot issue a certificate through a portal.
So
right?
what you can do is, you can still request the insurers that wherever need be, they can give you an option to issue a certificate of insurance wherever it is required by either your LC conditions or by your buyer.
Yes.
So that option the insurers can still give you. But predominantly your declarations to the insurers will be on the basis of monthly declarations.
Okay. Any more questions?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Vineet from Parksley Global. I had a question. Like, we are using an open insurance policy. So instead of using an open insurance policy, do we have anything similar to the term insurance or the vehicle insurance which we get? We can for a particular calendar year, we buy the whole insurance policy for a particular turnover, and we, instead of making a certificate for every shipment, can we claim it only at the time of some incident or accident or such like that?
So as I mentioned earlier, further to that, there are only two options you have in marine transit. Either you take a specific shipment policy where you take shipment wise policy, where it is a cumbersome process, because you have to ensure that payment is done first, and then thereafter only policy certificate can be issued. So if it is a Saturday, Sunday, you're caught, or you have an open policy. Now here, as I mentioned earlier, under the open policy, only once in a month, that means by the 5th of or 7th of the consequent month, you just have to give them a statement of your total sales. So that is already there in your system, because your invoices are also issued from your system, and it is extremely easy. There is nothing that you actually need to do in that, and you need not give them the name of your buyers. You just have to give the invoice number, invoice date, and the invoice value. So there's nothing else that is required for the insurers for declaration. So I think this is the easiest way where you can't miss out on any invoice. So a ledger copy of your sales register, or deleting the balance columns, is what you need to give, plus 10%, whatever are your terms of the policy.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Ratinji, this is Gauri Shankar Reddy from Flagship Biotech International Private Limited. See, we have a shipment. Good evening, sir. We have a shipment which are the income terms is for FOB, and the buyer is asking us to cover the insurance from over here. But as we understand, so in case if for FOB also we cover the insurance from here, it will be valid till it is on board, right? After that, the risk covers go to the consignee. So in this case, we had discussed with ICICI Lombard, which we have the marine policy with them. They just confirmed today that they can cover this risk till destination in case if the terms is FOB, but premium would be will have to be paid to extra to them, and which in the policy they would mention a clause that irrespective whatever the Inco terms are, the risk will be covered up to destination. This is warranted that.
So there's some confusion here under the FOB Incoterm. So these Incoterm, the definition of Incoterm is international convention terms. So these terms are decided by various convention for everyone in the international trade. Okay. So your if it is your FOB Incoterm, then under the FOB Incoterm, your ownership on the cargo is only till it is on board vessel. Okay. Now assume whether your importer is having a policy and you are an unpaid vendor. Okay. Then there is a risk where you will lose out on your cargo, and you will lose out on your money also.
Right.
So there are special clauses which are available in the insurance industry, where you can request the insurers to have those additional clause where the ocean transit or the air transit till it reaches the destination port will be deemed covered under that policy, under that clause. However, you do not have to disclose the same to your buyers, because predominantly your buyers have to insure it.
Right.
So there is a clause available. So that clause is what you need to take from the insurers. And there are three conditions. One is you have to be an unpaid vendor, number one. Number two, you do not have to disclose this to your buyer.
Okay.
And your buyer should not have a policy in case of claim. So if they have a policy, then it will fall under their policy.
Right. So in this case, he has not applied for any policy. And as per the insurer, they had confirmed us, they will be mentioning a clause in that warranted. I'll just read out the clause, what they have given. Warranted that the cover will be.
Clause is called as the seller's interest clause.
Seller's interest clause.
So the clause is called as the seller's interest clause.
Okay.
That is what you need, and you do not pay anything additional for it. It is free. Normally, in none of my policies I have paid for it. So you don't worry. You negotiate with them, they give it to you.
Okay. Fine. Thanks very much for this. But in this case, if anything happens during the transit until it is reached the destination, So the claim has to be filed by us if this clause are mentioned in the policy.
If your buyer does not have a policy, they will confirm
Yeah.
to you that they don't have a policy and you are an
Okay.
unpaid vendor, then
Okay.
you are eligible for the claim.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Thanks very much. Yeah.
This applies for C&F also.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Any other questions? Ratin
Sandeep
bhai,
bhai.
one final. Yeah, Michael, you can ask after my this question. Do
Okay.
you any idea of ECGC and all the things so that next time we can have one webinar for ECGC also?
Insurance is an area which has been picking up well, both in the domestic front and on the export front. In the export front, apart from ECGC, there are 2-3 major players who are there in the credit insurance market. ECGC is a product which is absolutely a BATA product where everything is fixed. You actually don't have to do anything. It is the country wise A, B, C, D. There are, A1, A2, B1, B2, such kind of ratings are already given by the ECGC. You just have to follow that and they will charge exactly the same premium. So ECGC is there. Apart from ECGC, there are a few very high reputed international credit insurers and reinsurers who are there in India, and they are being fronted by a couple of insurers here in India. So that it is there. Apart from ECGC, you have other options. But again, because of the pandemic and the COVID, in the past 1.5 years, the credit insurance market has become extremely hard. So the rates are very high currently.
We want to make our members aware about ECGC. Many of our members are not getting ECGC coverage. They're not getting that coverage done. So next webinar we wish to have about ECGC. So if you have any knowledge about it, ECGC, and if you have any connect with any good ECGC officer, we can have a joint webinar along.
Sure. No problem. That can be planned.
Okay, Michael, you continue. Michael.
Okay, Ratin bhai, it was just a thing like on behalf of all the FPME members. Like, can you design a flat premium for FPME members or something? Is it possible?
So here, what happens is in insurance, it becomes a very delicate area, because what will happen is if a member has claimed and a member has not claimed. So if there is an X rate, and which if a member who would not have claimed could get X minus, and if there is a member who has claimed, then his rate will be X plus. So it would not be right for the for one to negotiate on the rates, because to each its own. It is like that. So a person who has not claimed ever, he's entitled to a better rating pattern. Most importantly, as members, as traders, I would request you very clearly that please concentrate on coverages more than the ratings. Okay. Many a times what happens is just on the commercial front, insurance is not that big a cost, which everybody will agree. If anybody does not agree, unke heart to heart they will agree it is not that big a cost. But where people get lured is that if somebody offers half paisa sasta, 1 paisa, 2 paisa sasta, but then if he's going to mend the cover and give you that, then that is not what you want, because ultimately claim is paid on the basis of cover and not on the basis of premium. So please never negotiate on premium. Please keep your covers intact. And then whatever best you feel you can negotiate, please do that. But please ensure you have good insurers and underwriters who understand your trade well, so that you don't have a problem in claim.
Yeah, I agree to this, Ratin bhai. But for that, I mentioned earlier also, you please understand what are the maximum risks of our members, and accordingly we can design one policy for our members where all risks are covered, and you can suggest that policy to our members, and for that policy we can have a common premium kind of thing. If that is possible, we can definitely work out on that.
We can have policy terms to be absolutely in aligned, because ultimately covers are something that we can have control of. And as far as the ratings are concerned, I would not like to comment on the same till I get your last 3 years claims experience of every exporter, or every trader. If there are no claims of anybody, we can have one rating, which is difficult. If everybody would have some claim or the other. But when we are with one insurer, then when we are giving him that insurer a spread, then definitely he will be more competitive. That, yes, that we can do. We can be more competitive than your existing ratings. We can ensure that the covers are to the maximum. So all that we can ensure. That should not be a problem.
Understood. Now, just one request is for next our committee meeting, you will be invited to understand what are the maximum risk, and accordingly we can frame one cover policy for that. Please.
Sure.
Sandeep, can I go with one question?
I am done.
Yeah. One more question. We are merchant exporters. Suppose a particular shipment is going to one buyer, but the shipment has 3-4 products coming from 3 different manufacturers. So it gets dispatched on 1 or 2 days. There will be gapping of 1 or 2 days, and it will be from different locations in India. So our insurance cover is from anywhere in India to anywhere of the world. So what happens, if we file a single invoice with one single shipping bill with all the 3 products on the single invoice, and if in transit suppose from Baddi to Mumbai, something happens to that consignment, so will that be covered or not? Because the invoice is 1, but the location is 3.
So there are 2 things that you have to keep in mind. One is that if you're going to send those goods directly to the CFS, okay, under a shipping bill, or the airport customs under a shipping bill, then all these 3 consignments are deemed where export transit has already commenced. Okay.
Yes.
So you're buying your cargo X warehouse or X works from your various manufacturers in India, and the export has already commenced because the goods are going directly to the airport customs or the CFS for stuffing, where there is consolidation which is going to happen at the customs area, and thereafter it is going to be stuffed in the container, and then under shipping bill it is going to already go for their onward journey depending on the Incoterm. But if you have consignments which are coming to your own warehouse at Bhiwandi or XYZ near port, your CHA would have a warehouse. So in law, CHA is your own agent. Okay. So here, if the goods are coming back, then they are coming back in your possession.
Okay.
So the transit from your various factories to your own warehouse is stock transfer. It is not export.
Okay.
Be very clear on that, because
so
under the termination, yeah.
Okay. So in short, if it's going to JNPT, so we can issue only one invoice. So that it's going to custom bonded warehouses. But
As
if it's
far as the
airport,
claim,
then it
as
goes
far
to
as
the
the
CHA.
claim,
Yeah.
So as far as the claim is concerned, even though there is one invoice that you filed, but in the transit leg, there will be an invoice of the manufacturer that will accompany the goods.
Yes.
So here, in case if there is a fire in that truck, then the basis of valuation and basis of settlement of claim will be that invoice value plus 10%, not your export invoice value.
Okay. No, but in case of air, generally the consignment goes to the CHS warehouse. So ideally, we have to break it, right? We have to raise 2 different invoices and 2 different insurance.
So here, if it goes to the CHS warehouse, then either you have an option of very clearly mentioning it to your insurers that this is how the business is going to take place. Whether that the insurer will be able to give your approval, whether in transit storage, because the invoice and the shipping bill is already filed. So whether this could be referred as an in-transit storage, that it depends on the number of days. If it is just a week or maybe 5-6 days, then you can take that approval from the underwriters.
In case if that in transit, if it arrives at our warehouse, then that, and in our warehouse some fire happens, is it covered or not?
Then it is covered under your fire stock policy. Transit ceases. The transit insurance ceases because it is stock transfer. Your export has not commenced at all.
Okay.
Your export transit has not commenced. Goods are coming back in your possession.
Ratin bhai, good evening. Sorry, Amit. Please continue.
So if it's in CHS warehouse, that is also goods are in our possession, or how is it?
So that is why I said in particular the CHS warehouse, because that warehouse you're using for consolidation. So please write to the underwriters, take their approval. Generally, they would give you an approval for a period of 7 days to 10 days.
Okay.
But then you need to specifically get an approval, because in law, CHA is your agent. He is not an independent.
So can we get it in the policy itself? When we design it, can we get it in the policy itself?
You have to.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to.
Okay.
Plus, many a times what happens is there is shutout cargo also. There is, there are so many things which happen. So sure, all these clauses are properly there in your policy.
Okay. Sorry, who was next?
Yeah.
Ratin bhai, this is Rohit Jain. I am from SR Pharma Private Limited.
Yeah, Rohit.
And I'm listening. Yeah, good discussions, and you have
Right.
very valid points and good knowledge. Thank you so much. And being on the board of the FPME, I'm extending this current discussion about the CHA. If the terminology says that CHA is my agent, definitely, if it's my agent, then the liability is on me. But in case if the CHA is nominated by the buyer, and my consignment is coming directly from the manufacturer to that CHA. So the case study is like this. If the consignment goods are coming from the manufacturer to that CHA, so till the manufacturer's factory to the CHA is insured by the manufacturer. There is no liability on me. At the point of the CHA warehouse, since it's nominated by the buyer, again my liability is 0. So whether it's a 0 or it's a liability on me.
It is complete liability. Your ownership is not transferred. Please understand. At the CHA's warehouse, the ownership is still yours. What are your terms of sale? Is it CIF, FOB? What are your INCO terms?
It's a FOB.
So till it is on board the aircraft. So till it is on board the aircraft, it is definitely your risk. Definitely you need to cover.
Okay.
Because till it is on board vessel, on board the aircraft, it is the ownership lies with you. It doesn't lie with your buyer. Hello. Yeah, is sir there?
Yeah. So in this case, the CHA which has been nominated by the buyer. So I have the full liberty to discuss and negotiate with the CHA about the terms and conditions, to see the warehouse and to see the situation also, so that there should not be any fire or theft or something like this, because the goods is mine.
So
the liability is on mine.
Here I would recommend you please take a stock policy, a regular feature. Then please take a stock policy, because your transit has not commenced yet. The export transit has not commenced. The transit insurers will not be on risk. Take a fire and a burglary policy for goods lying at your various CHS warehouses.
Okay. Fine. Thank you so much.
Because in that warehouse, not only your goods will be stored, but there will be so many other clients' goods which will be stored. So it may be that there may be some hazardous chemical drum also which may be there, which is not in your control.
Okay.
So don't take a chance.
Great. Thanks for this brief.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah. So I think
Amit, we should close now, and thank you for start. Thank you.
Yeah. On behalf of FPME management and its members, I would like to thank Ratin Bhai and Ketan Bhai for sharing their knowledge with us on marine insurance. It will be greatly help for our members, and they will get in touch with your insurance needs. Thank you once again. Goodbye, everyone. Have a nice weekend.
Yeah, thank you.